Everybody, let's get started. So welcome everyone. This is a talk about, in this crazy environment, how can we be better customers for our trucking companies, and hopefully as a result of that, go out and secure more business, get more containers moved, because there's plenty of work out there right now. So let me get this technology all set up here. So first off, my name is Michael Mecca. I'm the CEO of PortPro Technologies. What PortPro is we are a drayage TMS, drayage operating system. Right now our primary markets are in New Jersey and in Los Angeles. We have about 100 different trucking companies working with us, and we've been in business live for about 18 months. So we're the fastest growing drayage operating system in the United States. We really, a part of our business model is not only going out and just implementing software within drayage operations, but also helping them procedurally become better and be better truckers for their customers. So a little bit about my background. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. I have about 7 years of drayage operations experience. I'm in an asset-based trucking company in the Port of New York, New Jersey. I then transitioned to a couple years of non-asset-based drayage brokerage. And from there, started a technology company, and then created PortPro, and now working with over 100 drayage carriers across the United States. So this conversation, this talk is coming from a place of me having the experience on the operation side, but then also speaking with a lot of our carriers ahead of this event, and really going in and seeing what are the main pain points, and what do they like best about working with certain customers, and why do they reject work from other customers outside of price. So, and I want this to be as interactive as possible. So if you could just really quick raise your hand. Is anyone here a BCO? Is anyone a forwarder? Is anyone a broker? Forwarder? Broker? And everybody works at the seaports and rail yards, seaports, combo? Okay. So I think in this market right now, there's just so much work out there. I'm sure you guys see it all the time. You get bombarded by your customers asking you to go out and quote work. And the only thing that's really preventing you from being able to go out and execute and do more business is, how are you going to get trucking companies to accept work from you? And it's really become, I think, the most pressing issue when it comes to this microphone is just really picking my piece. It's pretty much the most pressing issue, I would say, when it comes to being a forwarder or a broker and being able to go out and execute in this market right now. Because traditionally it was, hey, how do I go out and get work? How do I get work? Now it's easy to get work. Everybody can get work. How do you cover your work? How do you get more containers out of the ports? And everything I'm really going to talk about here, and I like interaction as much as possible because nobody wants to hear me babble on for a half hour, is, how good are you to your trucker? Are you treating your trucking company like a customer today? The same way that you treated your customers in the past. Are you treating your trucking companies that you're working with today that same way? Are you taking care of them? And we're going to go through a number of different talking points, about 6 that are interesting, and I think we can have a dialogue about. And these 6 will cover from quoting all the way down to equipment utilization, right? So the first thing that we're going to be talking about here is on the quoting side. I think one of the most important things that, and you can raise your hand if you're guilty of this, that brokers and forwarders are currently doing is, when you go out and you're looking to secure a quote, and I mean, Jack's in the back from MDB. I'm sure Jack gets bombarded with these emails all day and twice on Sunday. Get blasted with emails asking for quotes for lanes that are as general and broad as possible with no real description. So you just go out and you have this big email list of 500 trucking companies, you BCC everybody, and you just send out an email. And you say, hey, I might have 10, 15, 20 containers coming in at some point in time in the future, and I need a quote. What can you do? I think that is extremely poor practice, and it generally won't get you anywhere, and it won't allow you to begin to build relationships and be viewed as reputable by the trucking companies you're looking to do business with. I think it's important to be very specific and transparent about the lane that you're looking to run and the pricing that you're looking to offer out. Don't play the brokers and the forwarders and the BCOs that play the transparent game win the long-term game, right? So you might win a onesie twosie with a trucker where you make your $400, $500, $600 margin and you feel good, but long-term you're going to miss out if you don't communicate with that trucking community properly when receiving quotes and when looking for quotes. I think it's a really important introduction out to the community, out to the drayage community, is being able to effectively describe what you're looking to be quoted, when it is, and don't just blast out emails. Do a little bit more research about the trucking companies. Reach out to them, see what their specialty is. Be specific as to what you're looking to be quoted. I think that'll be, that's a very important first point to make, because that's usually the introduction into working with trucking companies. Does anybody have any? Outside of being a trucker, does anybody on the brokerage side have any thoughts about the way that we're currently quoting, strategies, techniques, thoughts? I would say this is probably, if you're a broker or forwarder and you're looking to cover more work, I'm probably as good as a person to talk to at this entire conference. Not to pat myself on the back, but there's not anyone else that's really talking to as many trucking companies on a day in, day out basis across all markets inside their operations as I am. So I would say if there's questions that you have about anything that I'm going over, please feel free to ask me. That's why I'm up here. All right. So the next thing that we'll go over is load tendering. So I think this is kind of the second point. Okay, I go out and I get a quote from one of my trucking companies. They accept. I get the quote. I accept it. We agree to do business together. How am I tendering out the load? How am I communicating with my trucker as to, okay, is it PDF delivery orders? Are they Excel sheets? Like, how are we actually going out and communicating the information that we need so that our trucker is able to pick up their loads? Are we making it easy? Is the customer service rep that's communicating, your agent that's communicating with the trucking company, is it easy to describe the load? Is it an enjoyable relationship receiving the tender from the broker, from the BCO? I think it really might sound cliche, but these are like really basic things that are really, really important. I'm just saying, I see Jack here. Jack has a drayage company in the LA Long Beach ports, and if I'm Jack, sorry to talk on your behalf, Jack, but you just look so good back there, man. If I'm Jack and I'm getting work from two separate customers, right? And everything else is the same, the price is the same, the lane is the same, everything else is the same. I'm really going to take a step back and I'm going to look into, okay, which company can I work with that limits my operating expenses and is a joy to work with throughout the entire process, right? So I think that number two, in terms of load tendering, figuring out a way to offer out loads and tender loads out to your trucking companies in as easy of a way as possible. I would say on the EDI side, right? If you have a portal, these things, especially for smaller trucking companies, can be really problematic and really expensive for them. So I would try your best to be as flexible as possible with the different carriers. Even if you have to incur some more of the burden on your operation side, I guarantee it'll allow you to go out and solicit, get more truckers to cover more of your containers. They're simple things. It's not rocket science, but nobody really does it at scale. You might do it one or two loads, but in my experience and the experience of the 100+ trucking companies we're working with, these are the points that they're talking about still today, right? So these are the items that these companies are looking for when they're deciding to bringing on new customers or even getting rid of their current customers. They're evaluating these 6 things. So I'm just the messenger here. All right. So then we're really going to get next into container visibility and load visibility. How I broke it down, container visibility is on vessel or at port. Load visibility is once the container's been picked up from the port or the rail. So what I really mean by container visibility is a lot of times a broker or forwarder is going to send information out and then expect the trucker to go and track everything from soup to nuts. That's great, and that could be a value add that the trucking company is going to provide to you, and that might be a reason to choose that trucking company to work with. But I would say the least amount of work and the least expectation that you can put onto that trucking company, the better off you're going to be, because we're just going to go back to operationally, how do we reduce their expenses in order to do work with with you as the broker or the forwarder. I think it's extremely important. Something that happens all the time is vessel gets redirected. So you go out there, you tender out a delivery order with 15 containers on it. It's supposed to go into one terminal, ends up going to a second terminal. The trucking company doesn't properly track it. 15 containers go into the merge for 2 days. I mean, they're simple things. And don't be the customer that knows it's about to happen and doesn't let the trucking company know a day or 2 or 3 before. Hey, make sure you're taking a look at this. This is going to be a problem. Be a partner in that type of thing. I think the demurrage and per diem situations right now, a lot of it outside for the things that we can control are just a matter of communicating. And everybody most of the time plays the role of just trying to cover their ass, you know? But if we really try to communicate better, and as a customer, if I'm communicating properly with my trucker, I guarantee you, once things maybe get a little bit better and even out a little bit, they're gonna remember. Like the trucking companies remember, if you're loyal to them, you do the right thing by them, you don't leave them for $1, $2, $5, $10 difference in rate, and you eat that, you're gonna have long-term relationships, and those are the people right now on the customer side that are having success being able to go out and gain more market share in this environment right now. If you're not able to go out and get truckers, you really have to take a look at this internally. I have to really internally look at how you're communicating, how you're treating your trucking companies. Then we get into simple things on the account payable side. Are you paying your trucking companies on time? What are the net terms? Are you nickel and diming about accessorials and fighting them on congestion and per diem? Right now, you should be I would proactively reach out to all of my trucking companies I worked with and say, hey, by default, I'm gonna pay you X congestion, flat. Doesn't matter if there's congestion or not, to go to ABC terminal, I'm gonna pay you congestion. I guarantee you it gets you a ton of business. Talk to your customer. Everybody needs containers moved right now. Containers sitting demurraged for a week. They'd rather pay the terminal. I'm telling you. People aren't doing these types of things right now, or many people are not doing these types of things. The trucking company, you do that, they're gonna help you in a pinch. They're gonna do more work for you. Pay on time. Reduce your net terms. Prepay. Don't be cheap. Don't be cheap. And I know everybody needs to make their money, and you should make your money, but everybody talks about, oh, there's a driver shortage. There's a driver shortage. Well, if I'm Jack, right, and I'm able to go out and I'm able to pay my drivers more because my customers are paying me more, I'm gonna be able to better service you as a customer. Because I'm gonna have more drivers at my disposal, I'm gonna be able to move more containers for you. So it's all connected. It's all connected. The last thing I really wanted to talk about was equipment utilization. And I think this is something that might not be brought up enough. If you have trucking companies that you're consistently working with, I think it's smart to go out and speak with them about for the containers that they're constantly doing. What steamship line are they using? What would they prefer to use? Maybe they have an export customer that they like a certain container type size. Maybe they want to pull in and out of a specific terminal so that it works better with their export accounts. There's little things like that you can work around and work through, and I think they provide a lot of value, and people don't think about them very often. So, does anybody have any thoughts, questions, comments on anything I've said thus far? Anything? So, the last part that I had here is I was really just going to more or less talk about what we're doing to solve this at PortPro and some interesting opportunities that we have going on right now. So, in PortPro, like I was saying earlier, we're a drayage operating system. We provide software to over 100 drayage companies around the United States. And one thing that we actually just began a beta with is we have a new freight forwarding and brokerage software that we're building out. And we secured one of the biggest exporters in the United States to begin using this system. And what the system represents is we have a forwarder broker system on one side. It's a completely independent system. You're able to run your entire business agnostic of any trucker that you work with. Now we have this beautiful trucker network on the other side. And that trucker network is our truckers, are tech enabled, their drivers trained on a mobile app, unlimited visibility, on-time invoicing, complete visibility from soup to nuts on your trucker side. Now imagine from you as the customer, you as the broker, you as the forwarder, being able to have instant access, not through API integration, not through EDI, not through anything else, just a direct access on a native system, a PortPro forwarder or broker system to a PortPro carrier, natively. I've been talking about this for over 2 years. It's finally coming into fruition right now. This is what the future is. There will be people, there will be forwarders, there will be brokers that might not have the appetite to do this, and they might be intimidated or a little scared. But the forwarders and brokers and BCOs that turn to this type of strategy of creating an ecosystem of trucking companies and working only with those trucking companies will have success in the 2020s and beyond. That's all I have to say. So, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. If not, then I'm gonna go grab a beer.